for collectors and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans? Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the absolutely incredible support from all of my Optibotimus Plus channel members, we're going to be taking a look at the new NECA Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fugitoid, as he appeared in the original Eastman and Laird Mirage comic books. And this is one I was absolutely looking forward to. Now, while NECA has been giving us Ninja Turtle figures for a while, they really haven't revisited what started them out in the franchise. That being the original Mirage comics done by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And technically, this is the first brand new figure that we have gotten since those days. Now, I say that because some time ago, it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. They released a Mirage Comics version of Shredder and the Foot Soldiers. So that was kind of new, but those figures actually were developed many, many years ago when they originally did the comic-inspired Turtles. Just the reception to those Turtles really wasn't that great. At the time, the Ninja Turtles weren't as popular as they are now, so the line was canceled. And they never got to do that Shredder or Foot Soldier. But the design was always there. The molding was already done. And if you go back and watch my review of those, you can actually see how I point out a lot of those old design elements like joints and such are not the more modern designs that they have been using. They are in fact those original designs from many, many years ago. So that's why I say that this is the first new Mirage Comics character that we've gotten really since they started doing the TMNT line. And what's great about Fugitoid here is he actually was a character that was created by Eastman and Laird before the Ninja Turtles. He had his own comic book, but then was subsequently brought in to the Ninja Turtles universe, making this guy really very special. And what I love is it basically is where it all started. Now, NECA did something a little bit different this time. In collaboration with Target, they did something called a haul-a-thon, I guess. Where literally just a couple days ago, they released a lot of figures, both in stores and online. And roughly that same day, they were available across the board. So you, in theory, could have walked into a Target and picked this guy up. You could also have ordered him online. But he sold out in several hours, and by the time I woke up, he was already gone. Now, this is the standard release. There is a second version of this where the figure's identical, the packaging is a little bit different, but what's special about that is it's a signature edition. And I know this is taking a long time to get to the review of the figure, but I want to cover everything. This is just the figure. It's $32, and it's a good price for it. That signature edition, which came with an autographed card from Kevin Eastman, retailed for $100. So there are a couple different versions of this, obviously, and depending on how big of a fan you are, you have the option to get one of the creators of Ninja Turtles' actual autograph, which is cool. For me, though, right up front, I will tell you that I do not feel that Kevin Eastman's autograph is worth $70. Like I said, this guy's about $30, that one's about $100. That's a $70 difference. I don't think that his autograph is worth that much. When I personally have 2 autographs from him in my collection, thanks to my good friend Angel, who went to San Diego Comic-Con and got Kevin Eastman to write specifically to Optibotimus that I do the best Ninja Turtle reviews on all of YouTube, and another autograph that came with my Factory Entertainment San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Raphael Sai prop replica set. So I already have his autograph times 2. I didn't need another one. And I also didn't think it was worth that $70 price point. As cool as Kevin Eastman is, as I said, he goes to conventions all the time and basically will sign anything for you. Now, who I would have paid $100 for this figure in an autograph would be Peter Laird, who does not do a lot of signatures, does not do a lot of conventions. Of the two, he's kind of the recluse of them. He does not like going out in public very much, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But while I have 2 of Eastman's autograph, I have none of his, and I would love to get his autograph one day. But But there's all that backstory stuff. For the package, though, I still think it looks really cool. It's done up to look like the comic book. So you got Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles. Gorgeous image of them right here. It is done up in a color sort of thing. Now, in the comics, in the early days of the Eastman and Laird Mirage Studio stuff, only the covers had any coloring done to them. The Fugitoid comic had a full color cover, but the inside was black and white. So this is more designed to kind of replicate how he looked on the cover of it, not so much how he looked in the actual comic itself. So I would have loved it if instead of just doing a full-on just kind of repackage with the same accessories and stuff like that for the signature edition, something that would have made me buy it or want it more than just getting Kevin Eastman's autograph would be if they did the figure in a full-on black and white color scheme. That would be my preferred look for the guy, but this dulled-down silver and gray kind of look still looks really good. I just like that black and white look because that's how they looked in the comics. The side here has a really cool image of Dr. Honeycutt right on the side. We'll get into that here in a little bit. And then you got a nice full-size image of him right there. Come on to the back of the package. And it says, meanwhile, you got nice product shots here. Now, one thing that is also really cool is NECA has announced that they are going to be revisiting the original Mirage Turtles and reissuing what they've done. God, was it 2008? I don't even remember. Long time ago when those original figures came out. But you see him kind of hanging out there. And then it says, to be continued. Which is interesting because it shows the Utron, Casey Jones, and I forgot her name. I have her. I'm trying to think which comic she appeared in. But as many of you know, I have the first 5 issues of the Mirage comics. And then the 4 micro series. So I know I've seen her, but I'm drawing a blank on her name. But it's cool to see. It seems that they're going to be doing more in addition to these turtles. Absolutely love that. But for the packaging and all that background stuff, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And here we have Fugitoid open up and out of his packaging. And I'll be real with you guys. I know a lot of you don't watch these reviews. And if you do, I absolutely love it. And I really do appreciate it. I know a lot of people are not going to watch reviews on this guy. Or really watch any of my TMNT reviews. But I absolutely love the franchise. And for me, I love talking about the toys and all that history. So when you guys actually watch the videos, it really does mean a lot. Even though, like I said, not a lot of people do. It really does mean a lot to me. So a little bit of history on Fugitoid. As I said, the character was first introduced in his one-shot comic before the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series started. Eastman and Laird really didn't think that they were going to be that successful with the Ninja Turtles, which is why they killed Shredder at the end of that first comic, because they didn't expect there to be another one. But it was so popular that they continued the stories. And they decided to pull in their other character they created right before the Turtles, that being Fugitoid. And they incorporated him into the Turtle storyline. When the Turtles have to fight the Triceratons and the Utroms, all that crazy shenanigans stuff goes on. And by issue 4, Fugitoid gets brought back in. Now, the original kind of backstory for this guy is that Dr. Honeycutt was working for some military people. They were developing transportation technology. And Dr. Honeycutt was the one that was leading that. He was also working on a kind of telekinetic device. And through an accident, he was using his robot helper, Sal, and was controlling him with that telekinetic device up until the point where they both got electrocuted, which then fused Dr. Honeycutt's mind in Sal's body. When the military came to get their teleportation device, they discovered the dead body of Dr. Honeycutt and figured it was Sal that killed him. There was no really convincing him what had happened, so Dr. Honeycutt just took off, which is where the name Fugitoid, because he's like a toid, like a robotoid or whatever, and he's a fugitive. So that's where the name kind of comes from. And I always love doing this because I never really get a chance to a lot of times. But this is issue number 3 of the Ninja Turtles original Mirage series. This is number 4. And like I talked about before, the coloring on it is really interesting. They just kind of stuck with one color with the covers for the most part. So like this one's green. The one before it is kind of like a teal. The one before that is blue. And then the first one had a reddish pink coloring to it. You can also see that they were much larger comic books back in the day. But the turtles kind of go off and they end up having to fight the Utroms and then subsequently the Triceratons. And you can see the back here with the Utroms. In the Mirage universe, though, the Utroms are actually good guys, so that's a fun fact. But in terms of Fugitoid, he makes his way to us in the very first full-color Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic, issue number 5. And you can even see Fugitoid right there. And of course, you got the turtles fighting all sorts of different bad guys and things like that. Come around in the back here and you can see more crazy aliens, because they get pulled into a whole alien interstellar battle thing. A lot of them down here look like Star Wars characters, to be honest. But I love the fact that, like I said, you can see him right there in the background. So this has been a figure that I've really been looking forward to. Now, in the original vintage line, we did get a Fugitoid figure, and I'll bring that out here in a bit, but this is the first one that is really designed to recreate how he looked in the original comic. But that being said, though, a lot of these accessories that he comes with are kind of extra accessories. He never really uses any of these. Now, other than his hands, you can see that he has a few different ones. All of them are designed to hold different weapons. So these ones kind of are done up with a little space right here. They are a little bit more flexible, so you can kind of move them around, but he can hold his guns. These hands right here are literally just kind of spread open, kind of little tentacle looking fingers. And then you got other ones here that are also designed to kind of hold some weapons. They're done in a little bit more of a gripping sort of pose. That's really all we saw him kind of using throughout the comics. Everything else was done by somebody else. This gun here, I have no idea. Some of these I do recognize. These guns, I have no clue. They're probably just were being used by aliens and stuff, but really very cool. The paint detail on here is very clean, very nice, very straight, very sharp. Everything looks really very good, but you can see you have a bluish element with some black bits, and this is more like a little rifle type of thing. And then he does get 2 handguns. Both of these are different looking and look really cool. And get that focus in on there, and you can have him hold both of those as well. The guns, those I have no idea really where they come from. These other ones I definitely do. This is a Triceraton gun blaster because the Triceratons utilize that triangle sort of design. And this was the gun that the Triceratons were using. I got a bit of, you can kind of see like some, I don't know, well, maybe that's just meant to be like that, given it that comic book kind of look. You can see like the little marks right there, but it's also there as well. So I don't know if it's meant to be like that. Doesn't really bother me too much, honestly, because I like a little character in there. So you do have a Triceraton gun. Now, when the Triceratons captured these guys, this was their kind of cuff sort of thing. You can see, again, you got the little Triceraton logo right there, and then you put the hands in them. Now, you can actually use it with this. I'm curious about the turtles themselves, if you can, and I'm going to bring them in, but you just kind of put it in like that, and they were, like I said, kind of handcuffs. You can use it on him, and you got the little round section here, which works perfectly with the wrist. It kind of frictions in there, so that's really nice. My favorite accessory, though, is this guy. And the reason, and again, bringing in another comic book, because I love when I get to do it, this is the one-shot of Donatello, where it was meant to be an homage to the Turtles creators, Eastman and Laird's longtime idol, hero, whatever you want to call him, Jack Kirby, who you probably know as being a very well-known comic book writer. In this one shot, Donatello meets a guy named Kirby, who has a magic pen from a little rock that when they drew things, it came to life. And you had a whole bunch of crazy, like you flip around here in the back, crazy aliens and monsters and stuff that are attacking Donatello. Donatello then draws this, and I'm trying to remember what it was, and I honestly don't. But you can see that is what this is. Now again, color-wise, you see that it does have color in here. So I do like the fact that this is this bluish and this black color. In the comic, though, it was all black and white. So again, I kind of wish we got a black and white version of this. But I love the fact that they're doing it. It's so cool that they're kind of homaging other things, and I love the fact that they're including. Now, you can also use this with this guy, but realistically, this is Donatello's, and it's going to go on Donatello. You'll see it. I'll show it to you guys, but great detail all the way around. He's probably just going to have to put his hand in there and have him hold that. So that's super, super fun. Now, for the Fugitoid himself, this guy really turned out fantastic. As you can see, he's done in a very cool cell shading kind of look with the gray, the dark gray, the black, and then you've got the little white elements kind of giving a shine look to him. That's all the way around. And every aspect of this figure looks phenomenal. Literally looks like he just jumped off of the page, which is ironic because things like that can jump off the page. Now, for the comparisons, let's start doing this. This is the original vintage figure. I've loved him since I was a kid. You can see that he does have a very similar look to him. Colors were changed, but you get the idea of where they got that inspiration from. Looks very alien and very robotic. I absolutely love it. But for me, the real test is how does he look with the turtle. So here are the original NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures from 2008. It's crazy to me how long ago that was, but here these guys are. And for me personally, like I said, I love the black and white ones. They did a couple other versions with them in a color sort of box set and then a color individual set, but for me, the black and white is the look for them. It's the way they were in the comics, the way that it should be. Now, you can see scale-wise it works perfectly. They're roughly in the scale that they need to be. I just do really wish that there was a black and white version of him like these guys. Just because of my personal preference. Now, the fact that he's silver, he's great, works pretty good. I don't mind it all that much. And even at that, taking a look at Shredder, again, this was actually the version that came out as part of a Loot Crate exclusive. So his coloring is more designed to look like that comic book look as well, where the original one had a more realistic kind of look where there was like flesh tone and pinks and stuff like that. This is more designed to look like the comic book. But I mean, let's be honest. How cool would it be if all of these guys were done up in the black and white color like the Turtles? That would be amazing for me, and literally would be the only way, in my opinion, that really Shredder or the Fugitoid could be improved upon. Now, for his articulation, it's done a little bit differently because, as you can see, he's a robot with tubules for limbs. The head here at the upper part here is on a ball joint, so you get a good range of motion, but there's also another ball joint down here at the bottom. So you can really kind of rotate that around and get that really looking just about any way you want. I don't know if that's a bendy wire. I don't want to push it or anything, but you get a tremendously good range of motion with this guy. Nothing else at the head or anything like that. Sometimes they put articulated mouthpieces in there. They did not do that with him, which is perfectly fine. Shoulders here. The actual shoulder is on a swivel, so you can rotate that around, but then this entire arm, like I said, is a bendy wire. Now, the interesting thing is that they do have a lot of paint application on here. And I played around with this guy pretty much all day, and there have been no flaking off of any paint. So I don't know what they did for this guy that they can't do with other ones, but it's pretty darn good. Now, one thing that I would say is I'm not a big fan of bendy wires, so when I do bend it, I try to be as careful as possible, just kind of putting like my finger here and kind of rotating things around to kind of have some protection right there so that I'm getting it as secure as possible as I'm rotating around, but you can see that you can bend it in a position like that. I don't know if these rotate. They kind of wiggle, but again, I don't want to force it. Now, the hands will rotate around because, as you can see, you can just pull those off. And this is where, I'm going to be honest, this does get a little bit tricky to do. Just kind of, again, moving that around. You're going to take this, you're going to plug that in there via friction, and then take this, you'll remove that. And then again, I mean, you definitely want to be careful when you're flexing this around. So just kind of manipulate that, and then plug that in there, and boom. Now you have him handcuffed. That does kind of stink, but I love the fact that you can do that. And like I said, rotation-wise, you have that little peg section here, so you can rotate that around. Now, I will say that this upper ball section here, I'm trying to think if there's not a lower one. This one is a little loose, not terribly bad, but there is some kind of wiggle to them. So you do have that, but a little bit of left and right, forward and back, a lot of forward and back, but because this is oval shaped, doesn't really rotate in a circular pattern very well. The hips down here are much like the actual shoulders, where you have the hip that does have a swivel, and then the legs, again, have the bendy wire, which is terrific. Now, this does rotate here, so I'm wondering if this does, and it's just stiff, but I don't want to, because this is already a figure that is probably going to be hard to find, so I'm definitely not going to overexert much on this guy at all. Just kind of use a little bit of light force to kind of get these arms to straighten out. Leaving them bent probably could cause more damage, so leaving it like that. So you do have the bendy wire down here, and you can do stuff. You have a rotation as well. There's nothing at the ankle. That's all kind of locked in position, but you can kind of do whatever you want because of that bendy wire, which is amazing. Again, great detail. On the bottom side, you have these really nice tracks and tread. I mean, super cool. This guy's just stellar. I also kind of love how the top section, the way that it just looks like a bald dude with like comb over thing. I just love it. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this figure, just because he is I don't want to say a deep cut, because he's very iconic throughout the Ninja Turtle franchise. But me personally, I needed to have this guy. I just think that he's a fun figure, a fun character. He's been around almost in every incarnation of Ninja Turtles since the Mirage days. And kids probably know him now because I think his name's David Tennant actually voiced him in the most recent, what are we calling that? The 2013 series, I guess? I don't remember. But stellar figure, stellar accessories. Everything about this guy is an absolute win. Now, personally, as I said, the signature version I don't think is worth it. I do not think, I mean, this figure is like $35, let's say, after tax. I don't think that Kevin Eastman's autograph is worth $65. I don't. I mean, he is iconic for somebody like me. But also, that being said, as I talked about, he signs a lot of stuff. And he's kind of willing to pretty much put whatever, because I was able to get him to say that I'm the best TMNT toy reviewer on YouTube, which is definitely not true, but I still had fun with it. So, if you're interested, obviously those figures are out there. You'll probably be able to find them. They are sold out through the Target website, but they are hitting Target stores. When I went in, I was actually able to find them at my local Target, and there were 3 of these guys on the shelf. I got one for me and a friend of mine. None of them were the signature edition, so it didn't bother me much. But I'm thrilled to have this guy, and I'm thrilled that NECA is going to be revisiting the actual Mirage comic figures. And just like that, they pull me back in. But there you go, guys. There's my look at the new NECA Toys Eastman and Layard's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fugitoid. Exclusively available here in North America at Target stores. So if you are looking for them, good luck and happy hunting. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. To all of you that are watching my videos, a huge thank you. To all my channel members, you guys rock and make things like this possible. And to the whole world, please remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.